All right, so we're in pandemic mode, so there's really no opportunity for me to go out there and shoot any cars. The Ferrari is still in the shop. I'll slowly continue to post updates. That car should be done, and so right now it's May 24th. That car should be done at the end of the month. If not, first week of June, and that's if we run into issues. So I wanted to take this opportunity to actually talk about my first car. I've talked about it in other videos before. I've posted it a couple times on Instagram. It's a 93 Toyota Corolla. And this morning I got motivated to see if I could find any photos. I'm not a big photo person. I'm not a big social media person, to be honest with you, despite having the car account and of course shooting YouTube videos. This is kind of a relatively recent thing. And outside of this, I really don't take a lot of photos of myself. So really not my thing, still not my thing, but I do like documenting about the cars and sort of my progress. And I'm so sort of finding my way of this YouTube channel, and we'll continue to evolve as the time goes. But I thought with somebody who's as fortunate as I am to have owned the cars that I've owned, and I have to imagine that I'm not going to slow down anytime soon, and I'll continue to probably own interesting cars. And not a lot of people my age have a Ferrari, albeit mine's damaged, but a Ferrari nonetheless. So, I thought I really want to take advantage of this opportunity and something I might be able to look back years in the future. So I went digging for photos that I didn't know if I did or did not have. And I knew that I had this flash drive from when I was in high school, may have even been middle school, which would have been like the very beginning of the technology, but I knew it was old. And I remember when I needed it, my brother actually had to go to Best Buy to purchase it for me. So I knew it existed, I knew what it looked like, and I was just taking a shot in the dark that this would have any type of pictures or videos I may have taken back then when I bought my first car. So we're going all the way back to 2005. I purchased a 1993 Toyota Corolla, actually with the help of my dad. I would have been a junior in high school at this time. So this car was a rust bucket. It was supposed to be this burgundy red. The clear coat was peeling. It was rusted on darn near every panel. AC didn't work. As a matter of fact, I think the radiator was leaking. I'm trying to go through. I had mismatching front wheels. Actually, I had mismatching tires, I think, all the way around, if memory serves me right. I knew that was one of the first things I had to address. And then, of course, the wheel, in this case, they were, the hubcaps were mismatching in the front. The car was a mess. It's your typical first car, and I want to say it was purchased for $600. And that summer, I got started on working. I was at a magnet school where they taught auto body, auto mechanics. What do we have? Like a shop class, like a wood shop class. And then I think my senior year, they introduced this motorcycle, or he was a motorcycler. I don't know if this was a motorcycle class. I think it was actually, where they were, basically welding frames. And so it was a magnet school for that type of thing. And all through high school, I was a part of auto body and these other shops. So I was what you might call advanced in that field, being a high schooler. Anyway, and I actually worked at a shop starting my sophomore year, and then definitely towards my senior year, I was putting in a lot more hours because at that time I had enough credits to graduate, I think pretty early on my senior year, or even at the end of my junior year, because I had some advanced classes like math. So I was using a lot of the extra time of my senior year in shop class. So anyway, fast forward, I had an opportunity to, when I bought the car that summer of 2005, I started working on it at home with the knowledge and skills that I had built to that point. Once school started back up, I guess this was my junior year, other people, like other seniors, kind of had their name on a list to work on their car through the year. We got my car in, I want to say at the end of my junior year, and I was able to really start to get to work on it. And funny enough, looking at these photos, originally I was repairing the fender. I was trying to cosmetically make it look good, not trying to bring it back to complete restore. And I did all this extra work on it, And on my junior year, when we brought it in, we actually changed shop teachers. But the guy who came in, his name was Mr. Lepovsky. He said, listen, there's no point in continuing to work on your fenders when you can buy replacements for really inexpensive. And he actually owned a shop, so he was able to get these pieces for a lot cheaper than retail. So obviously not something I would have had access to before. I was really not trying to spend the money, didn't have the money because I was doing this on my own dime. All the repairs, replacing the radiator, the battery, all these things I did on my own, and I did all the work on my own. So the funny thing about the story is I spent that whole summer and probably into the fall and during the school year periodically working on my car just to end up replacing the fenders anyway. And in some of these photos, actually, you'll see where we actually prepped it for paint. So I got pretty far before we actually decided to pull the fenders off and put new fenders on. So that was, I mean, I'm glad I did it, but it was kind of like one of those, like, you spend so much time doing it and then just in 1 minute a decision's made and, you know, brand new fenders go on, and it's kind of like, I wish I would have spent the time and effort and money, definitely the money. Anyway, so we had this car, now at this point painted. I don't have any final pictures. I hope they exist somewhere, because I know we took pictures at some point. I just don't know where those pictures might be. Maybe my brother has them. So the car is done, and I had an incident. The car just got finished, where it was my senior year now, and I'm going through this tunnel. There's this tunnel that led up to my school. If you're coming off the main highway, you turn right to go to the school, and you're forced to go through this tunnel. It's the only way in and out of the school unless you go like all the way around, like down this highway, up another highway, you come the back way. So going through this tunnel, and this bus was coming down. Well, actually, the way the layout was, I have the right of way going up this tunnel. There's even signs that say, like, you know, people coming in, because I guess there's a blind spot, I think is why I have the right of way. But it says that, you know, I have the right of way. So I'm coming through, this bus didn't stop, didn't slow down, and pinned me up against the side wall of this tunnel. Now that bus kept going, and I stopped, got out, looked, he's gone. I couldn't catch the bus number, I didn't know anything. So I drove to the school, immediately called whatever the school transportation emergency number was, explained the situation. And of course they're asking the questions that I don't have the answers to, right? Because by the time I realized that he was going to come through the tunnel at the same time as me, you know, I can't catch the number of the bus, I can't see a description of the driver. It was too late. So anyway, I ended up losing that. So the car, recently fixed, is now re-damaged. So I actually had to put another set of fenders on the car. Whole second set of fenders, having to paint and do all these things over again. So now the car is good. Also, kind of an interesting, funny story is that year we were a big Viper guy. It was my dream car. It was it wasn't like the stretch dream. You know, we all have that, like, oh man, I want a McLaren, or, you know, like that stretch goal. But it was the dream car to get for me, the Dodge Viper. And that year, the auto mechanics teacher purchased a fix me up truck, and ended up painting that in that Viper pearl blue. And when that job was done, so they did the mechanic piece of it, and they brought the car over to us to work on. Because I was a senior, you know, I was again on the advanced side of auto body. I was one of the main people on this truck, and one of the things was I begged and pleaded, can I get any leftover paint? I mean, this was paint that we didn't mix. I think he actually ordered it from Mopar, if I'm not mistaken. So this was official Viper color, and I asked if we could have any extra, but I know that we had ordered, you know, in a situation like that, when you're ordering these special paints, you're ordering just enough for the project, maybe a little bleed over in the event that you have to redo the panel, but you're not ordering, you know, this by the gallons. So we didn't think there was gonna be any paint left, and it turned out that there was about a pint left, one little pint. So at the end of the project, at the end of my senior year, I was given this pint. Now I lived in Pittsburgh at the time, and in Pittsburgh, one of the things is it gets really humid in Pittsburgh. So this was, my senior year. It had to have been spring, summertime. It's getting hot. So I bring the pint home, and I think that day, the next day, it was the next day or 2 days later, as a matter of fact, I come out to the car and blue paint all over the back of this car, all over the seat, the windows, the back windows, a little bit on the roof. Obviously it heated up. I left the pint in the car, and the heat got to it, and it just popped the lid off. Paint goes everywhere, and as a matter of fact, the can actually fell over, I guess, from the force of the pop, and basically just all over the seat, seeped all the way through. I mean, this paint was not coming up, and by the time I caught it anyway, the paint had already basically dried on the windows. So had to take some thinner. I got the paint off the windows, off the places that I can get the paint off of, but of course the seats were ruined, the roof was ruined, and that was, it was hilarious and sad all at the same time. But 100% my fault. I wasn't thinking. It is what it is. So fast forward a little bit more. Now this car was the longest I've ever owned a car. And I have to double check that, because my first Viper I owned for a number of years, and I wonder if I owned that first Viper longer than this. But because I don't know, I'm gonna say this car was the longest owned car that I've had at 5 years, and almost 5 years, 5 years and a month, 5 years and 2 months. So I'm driving one day, and this girl pulls out of a T. She's at a stop sign, and T-bones me, clips me. I spin all the way around, and I hit another car who's oncoming. So the car is done, and the car's value, I think, is like KBB would be like $1,000 at this time, if that. Well, I know it's about that because that's what the insurance paid me. I think I got a total of $1,200 for that accident. So yeah, this girl's coming out, I guess, doesn't see me, and clips me. So sad ending to that car's life. And an unfortunate thing for her, in the moment I was pretty upset. I calmed down pretty quickly because I realized how young she was, and after we didn't call the police in that moment. In Pittsburgh, usually, this is like a blue collar kind of city. Usually you only call the cops for something serious. Somebody's hurt, or you feel like there's something sketchy. This person doesn't have the insurance or doesn't want to give you the drive. But normally people just give you the driver's license, give you the insurance, you call the insurance, we can handle it, which is the opposite of Georgia, by the way. So, we do the thing, and it didn't occur to me at the moment. I already acknowledged that she was young, but it turned out that she had gotten her license just 2 days before. So this was kind of her harsh introduction to driving.